Hey, what's happening, everybody? Rod J back again here for another Craft Beers Going Wild. We don't have Crunch, so
I think I think this is number 19, by the way.
is it 19 or 20? I can't
I,
remember
uh,
last week.
I think last week was 18. I think, or is it 20?
I think it might be 20 this week. So
Maybe it is 20.
this
I
might be
think
the
you guys want to
20th
pick
one.
20.
So Crunch
All right,
isn't here to get
sweet.
excited about the number like usual, which
Yep.
means we also don't have the impersonator to do Ronald Thoreau
Oh
because
man.
he's not here and Crunch isn't here. He likes to do the historical type aspect of it. So we may actually just have to drink and talk about beer this whole time.
Oh,
this,
great.
this week's show, you've got me here in Cincinnati, Rod J, www.rodjbeerventures.com. Oh, yeah, rodjbeerventures.com. Can't even remember. I'm just looking at my bottle of beer and really want to crack it open.
Excellent.
And then with me, I have...
We got Thomas Metal 75. My name is Eric. I do the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube, and I am from southeastern Massachusetts of the United States of America.
All right.
And north of the border, we have Painkiller, otherwise known as Dan, one of the other from boozereviews.ca. And yeah, that's pretty much me. So I want to drink. I've got a neighbor that's pissed me off. Let's drink.
Yeah. So Dan kept it nice and simple there. So tonight's show, it actually worked out kind of weird because we weren't planning for this to happen. But today is actually National Coffee Day. Yesterday was National Beer Drinking Day. So now we cashed in on both for one night to have coffee beers.
Yay,
that works out pretty good. So for me, I actually brought in one from Rogue, and this is a revolutionary blend, as they call it. This is the Rogue Cold Brew IPA.
Oh,
so
damn.
My love of IPAs and my love of coffee are about to come together.
Excellent.
And what do you fellas have?
Tonight, I'm bringing to you live in the bottle a 11.5 ounce bottle from Montreal. It is the Brasserie du des Sels Peach or Pichet, or however you pronounce that. Pichet or Pêche Mortel.
You were close. You were close. Luckily, we have a Canadian in the house.
Good. Imperial Stout.
French Canadian though.
Imperial Stout brewed with coffee, 9.5%.
Ooh, nice. And what do we got there, Boozer?
All right. Well, I want to thank my neighbor for making me pull out the big guns tonight. She destroyed my parking spot, so I had to go and quickly run in here. I'm just catching my breath back. But I have got a very large bottle that comes in at 22 IBUs, and it doesn't say what the percentage is because it's got stuff all over it. However, from How Sound Brewing, I've got the Mexican Chipas cold pressed coffee ale.
Ooh, that is a good sized bottle there.
Oh yeah, and it even comes with its own pop top and everything. So I mean that we're meaning serious business tonight, folks.
So your neighbor's causing a little bit of drama, huh?
Oh, just a little bit. She likes to take over a parking spot, and we've been waiting and waiting. So I've now put a nice little note, a Canadian note on there. Asking her not to, because today was the day I brought in a lot of stuff, including a very big package of beer.
All right.
Yeah, always for beer.
Yep.
I didn't mention on this one, but this one is actually 7.5% ABV.
Excellent.
And 82 IBU on this 22 ounce bottle. So, and it is India Pale Ale blended with cold brew coffee. So I guess we can start cracking these babies open. I can tell you off the bottle here, dedicated to two of our favorite things. Rogue Cold Brew IPA is a hoppy IPA blended with 200 gallons of Stumptown Coffee Roasters' famous cold brew coffee in every batch. Brew to awaken your senses, Cold Brew IPA opens with a huge hit of coffee aroma. that is balanced by a not-so-subtle hop punch. Brewed using 14 ingredients. 2-row Rogue Farms Bear and Risk C40 white wheat, rolled oats and kiln coffee. Malts, Rogue Farms, Liberty, Rebel, and Freedom hops and Simcoe hops. Stumptown cold brew coffee, free range coastal water, and Pac-Man yeast. So
there's the Pac-Man yeast
happening. Yeah, there's always the Pac-Man yeast in there that they always use for this stuff. little Pac-Man fever, I guess.
My Pesh Mortel is they don't say a whole bunch of information about it on the Do They Sell website, except for the fact that it's 9.5%. It was crafted at our Montreal location in October of 2001. It's a deep, dark, profound stout. Espresso coffee is infused during the brewing of Pesh Mortel, resulting in an intense dark brew with roasted malt flavors enhanced by bitter coffee. The dry finish is long and persistent, intended as a tasting experience. We invite you to enjoy this brew in moderation.
Nice.
And it gets a 100 from the bros.
I didn't look up mine on Beer Advocate, but I don't know. It's kind of, I've never seen this one before, so I don't know if mine might be a little bit newer. But, one of my favorite ones I've had this year was actually that Stone Mocha IPA. Yeah. But I've only had it on draft, and you can't get it in bottles around here, it seems. So it's been kind of a pain in the butt to try to find. Otherwise, I may have highlighted that one for the show. But this one, you can see here, it poured out pretty decent head, and I didn't pour too aggressively. I'm using this special glass made for IPAs, but it has a haze on it, that chill haze, so you're not seeing much of the carbonation. You get it to the light, you're not getting much of the bubble action either, but the head is kind of that bone white head. It looks like it's going to lace the glass nice as it's already starting to break down a little bit, but it should hang in there for a while. I do get some hints of that coffee coming out. It's like almost like just smelling coffee grounds, but it's got like a little bit of a spice kick on the back of it too. It's almost like a white pepper type feel.
Interesting.
I kind of like that. It's almost like it's got a little bit of I want to say like a chili pepper or something. It's kind of just, it brings the notes alive in the aroma. Nice taste as far as real smooth. I think I mentioned 82 IBU, but you're not getting a whole bunch of bitterness up front. It's got a little bit of a burn going down. You're definitely picking up some type of a spice kick in here, maybe off the they didn't say anything about pepper or anything on their ingredients.
I'm looking at them now. There's no peppers. None of it.
It's got to be one of the hops they're using has a little bit of a spicy feel to it.
Yep, they got Liberty and Freedom hops and Simcoe hops. And Liberty, Rebel, Freedom, and Simcoe.
And I haven't had Rebel before, so I'm wondering if that might be one of a more spicy type hop or the Liberty. But I'm not hating it. I'm not hating it at all, that spice kick. It's got, so it does have some pininess or earthiness to it from the hops. But it does get taken over by that blended coffee they're actually using. It does leave a nice mouthfeel with a pretty good duration. It does feel like a medium to full body, but it's got a nice openness, very aromatic, but then also in the mouth, the flavors get around nicely that I feel it kicking around. It doesn't just stay in one spot. It does make itself nicely around the mouth. I think the more it actually warms up and the more I drink it, I'm starting to get more of that sensation up into the cheeks, almost kind of that chewiness type thing where you kind of get it in there, it starts tingling a little bit more. No astringency on the back end, nice solid texture. It's a pretty decent beer. I kind of like this one. I've heard some different things about Rogue, and I try not to hold anything against them, but some people have warned me about drinking their beers before, and I'm like, I think there's something going on how they treat employees, I was told at one point, but you look online and you see stuff. You never know who's really putting a lot of that stuff in, but as far as beer-wise, they do put out some good beers.
Well, they say on the website that the cold brew IPA, the food pairings are pork and donuts.
I'm fans of both. So,
So you think it would work with both?
Oh man! So what if you did this? You had this with a bacon covered donut.
Wow.
Well, that would take it to the next level for sure.
Indulgence right there.
And we have places here that make bacon donuts, so that
They
might
do.
be something to try.
They do. They do have that Voodoo Donuts in Oregon. Rogue's known to collaborate with Voodoo Donuts and do their beers that way. The very first one that they had was a maple bacon donut ale that they did.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
I could see that.
I could see it like being something too, with like something off the grill. It's kind of got that smokiness to it a little bit that you can enjoy something like that possibly as well. But overall, I think a really decent beer, something that definitely stands out, something you can definitely remember from this one. It's not one of the copycat type beers that we see a lot of now. So for me, I'm going to actually give this one here I like how they push the envelope, and of course I'm a huge IPA and a huge coffee fan, but I drink this over and over again probably, so I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Is what I think it's pretty solid. And so that's what I got there. So I'm going to kick back and enjoy this for a little bit.
All right.
Let one of you two chats take over. All right, no rush. Just
All right, I'll get right to it then. Mine's gonna last a little while, so I'll get right to it.
All right, hang on. Let me just get comfortable here.
All right, here you go. Pay attention, people. This is a 100 rated beer by the Bros. And out of 1,800 reviews on BeerVentures, it gets a 97. So again, this is the Peche Mortel. It is a Imperial Stout. I think they are trying to brew it as a Russian Imperial Stout. And as you can see, I did pour this into a tulip glass, and it had the head that went all the way to the top. As you can see, it made this crazy looking rim of the foam of the head on the top of it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's a very, it's got a lot of lacing to it is what I want to say there. In the light, it's not pitch black. There are some of the ruby red tinges you can see, and it's just ever so slightly see-through, but I mean, it is pretty Imperial Stout looking black there with that tan looking head. So the nose on that beer is definitely all about rich roasted coffee notes. It's like a French or an Italian type roast coffee on the lines of an espresso, maybe even that kind of rich, darkly roasted coffee. Okay. There is some of the licorice in the background, or like an anise type scent. It's just very roasted with chocolate and that anise and the coffee notes and the dark roasted malts. And yeah, it smells exactly how you want a good Imperial Stout with the coffee to smell. It's right in line with your breakfast stouts and Bourbon County stouts and all those kind of things.
Oh, nice.
Right into that. I mean, there's not much of a hoppy spice at all, so let's just do it. Cheers. Wow. Wow. Friggin' wow.
That's a whole lot of wows.
There's a whole lot of complexity going on, as you could expect with something along the lines of this. There's definitely a nice bitter coffee blast that you get initially, and it definitely is close to an espresso type coffee. It has that sort of taste to it. There's a little bit of the chocolate in the background. There's a lot of dark roasted malt notes, and there is a pretty good hop zing with this beer. It's not entirely Russian Imperial Stout where it's more about the fruity components rather than the hoppy components. There's definitely a hoppy component there. Then there's definitely some dark fruit notes of cherries and plums and raisins in that as well. There might even be a little bit of a chalkiness if you get my drift on that. There's a little bit of a souring component while it dries. I would say it's a semi-dry finish. There is some of that residual sugary sweetness that you get from some Imperial Stouts. It's got a chocolate. It's almost like a baker's type dark chocolate on that. The mouthfeel is definitely full-bodied. I would say it's pretty rich and full-bodied. It's still pretty smooth. I can tell that it's a higher alcohol percentage beer, but it's not. It just creates a warming sensation. It's not hot. The heat is not there at all. There's a burn going down. It does have somewhat of a sticky, slick kind of a mouthfeel, just because it's got some more of that sugary, oily feelingness to it, I guess. 100's quite a rating for this beer. I guess if I was going to rate this right now, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. It's doing all the things you want it to do as far as a big old coffee stout and a big old imperial stout's concerned. So if you like things like Bourbon County Stout, Breakfast Stout, a Kentucky Breakfast Stout, along those lines of beers, this is a good one, and you're definitely going to want to take your time at 9.5%.
Oh, 4 out of 5 is definitely pretty good.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, I guess that means it's my turn. So I've been waiting here. I haven't drank it yet. I haven't had anything to drink. So without further ado, yes. So from House Sound, I found it online. It's 5.5% ABV. The description is, this smooth amber ale is conditioned with cold brewed coffee to give a bold aroma and flavor of fresh coffee with roasted earthy caramel and nutty notes. So with me, and if anyone knows, House Sound is hit and miss. You can have good ones, you can have bad ones. I've had good ones and I've had bad ones, and I've been holding off on this one. But thanks to you saying that this is going to be a coffee episode, I had to pull it out.
This is the last part of the
It's all your fault. So as you see, the head's still kind of there, very thin, dark amber golden color. You can kind of see through it, so I don't consider this a really too much of a coffee ale. Well, I guess you can, but I like porters and stouts that have the coffee flavor, so this is going to be a little bit different for me. On the smell, you do have a coffee-ish smell, light burnt malts. I've smelt this before. Where have I smelt this before? Oh, God. Right, the white stout. They actually made a white stout. Another company made a white stout, and it's got that smell that it's not an actual porter or stout, but it does have like burnt malts, and it's also got sort of like a spicy note to it. It's not bad. Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Well, it's got the coffee taste to it. Small burnt malts on there. Not much for an IBU taste to it, even though it says it comes in 22 IBUs. So yeah, it's small. I don't have a lot of grain or anything else. It tastes like the white stout that I had, which really threw my senses off, which this is doing as well. The coffee flavor is pretty good. It's actually really easy to drink. I wouldn't probably go out and buy it again. I'd have this with a light meal though, because it's decent and it's refreshing. I'm gonna have to give it probably about a 3.5 out of 5 on this one.
That's still pretty respectable.
It is. It is. I mean, it's good. It's crushable. I mean, it's not anything horrendous, but it's not anything spectacular. So yeah, it's a good average beer.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah. Beer. Beer is just amazing. I mean, this is the craziest part of one of the crazier parts about it. Look at that ring of the foam that it left.
Yeah,
that is
on top
awesome.
Of that beer.
Yeah.
It's such a sticky. It's almost like if you have a root beer float. It's that the head is that kind of consistency.
Yeah.
And if you just taste the foam, all you get is like a kind of like what Boo said. a burnt kind of a taste to it, like that burnt coffee. Like if you let it sit on the burner too long, it's got that roasted kind of a quality to it.
Well, Booze talked about his beer being crushable.
No, mine's not.
This is my 22 ounce right now, already emptied out. I'm just going through this beer pretty easily. I mean, it is going down. I'm getting no aftertaste. The smoothness is there. I mean, this one goes down very easy for a, again, what did I say? 7.5% ABV. Mm-hmm. So a few of these will catch up with you if you have that. But
one of these is all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, I guess, vanilla. I don't want to say it's not quite into the coconut like you would get in a barrel aged version, but I could only imagine how great a barrel aged version of this would taste.
Yeah.
And it says it was brewed April 27th, 2016, but they say on the back of the bottle it has aging potential. Although, I have a couple of different coffee stouts that I am aging right now, but the only problem I foresee with aging something like a coffee stout would be that, the added flavors to the beer are going to be the first thing that are going to leave the beer when you age it.
Yeah.
Yes,
but
no.
Depending, you'll lose the hops presence over a period of time, but the malt should be a little bit better. It should smooth out some to enhance the flavor.
And the ABV in there too. I mean, that'll make it help age quite nicely too.
Yeah, yeah. So in thinking about some of the coffee beers out there, are there any favorites you guys have as far as
favorite
over time? I mentioned the Stone Mocha IPA being one of the favorites I've had there, but it's not really. I wouldn't say it's fully like a coffee beer. Maybe it's kind of like a hybrid, but Bell's has a really good Java Stout that's really good that I've actually liked every time I've had that one. That kind of comes to mind from some of the ones that I've had out there. I don't know what you guys may have had.
Ooh, I've had a couple. The one that I had one of the other shows I was on with you guys, the espresso vanilla porter. That one was good.
Yeah.
And if you guys ever get Peak Organic Brewing,
yes,
their espresso double espresso stout, I think it is, or porter, that one's really good too.
Okay.
That one I really enjoyed. I had that 3 years ago, and it was phenomenal. I was blown away. Like, it's like, okay, I don't like organic stuff. This is going to be interesting because you lose a lot of flavor with some of the stuff. And they changed my mind. I actually started to like organics because of that.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was actually a really good beer. So I hope to get some more of it eventually. But yeah, those two are the ones that stick up for me the most.
Okay. What about you, Eric?
I know I've had a lot of different beers that have coffee in it, but the ones that come to mind, at least, that have the coffee in it are stuff like I think Founder's Breakfast Stout has coffee in it. Maybe it's the Kentucky Breakfast Stout that I'm thinking of.
Right.
The other one that I think of right away is the Sunday Morning Stout from Weyerbacher, which a lot of people consider that to be similar to the Kentucky Breakfast Stout.
Okay.
And the other one, obviously, that sticks in my mind is the Goose Island Coffee Brand Stout.
Yeah, I was going to say Bourbon County Brand Stout.
I had a bottle of that. I bought 2 bottles this year, and I drank one of them. And that's pretty good beer. I don't remember what it is. I don't remember what it is. I think I must have got a 2015, I think. I think it's probably like around 13.4% now. Comparing it to something like the Pêche Mortel, I find that the Bourbon County range from Goose Island is definitely more of an upfront boozy taste and a boozy flavor. So I feel like those are just a little bit harder to drink than something like what I'm drinking. But again, they're not designed to be anything you're supposed to, throw back into your gullet or something like that. You gotta take your time with the beers. I think it would be a disservice to the brewers if you put your Bourbon County Coffee Stout in a funnel and drank it that way.
There was one that I did have also from Left Hand that wasn't too bad either. It was their nitro coffee porter.
Wow.
And see if I can find that one, what the name of it was. And I got that from one of my places here to try out.
Oh, I see it here on Beer Advocate. It's called Hardwired Nitro Coffee Porter. That sounds good.
Yeah, that one actually surprised me. Is with the porter, is a little more thinner than what I usually like compared to a stout, but it actually delivered nicely as well. So that wasn't too bad of a one. The good thing right now is we're kind of in that season where we start going to the cooler type months, and you start seeing a lot more of these beers come out. So some good ideas for people that want to kind of warm up out there. Some of these different beers should be made more available, hopefully. But yeah, that one was actually a nice one from Left Hand. And Left Hand does a lot of good stuff with their beers. I know on Tanya's channel, she finally got to get the Left Hand Milk Stout finally out there in California, which is really funny because Left Hand is out of Colorado, I believe.
Yes.
So she's actually closer to them than I am in Ohio or Kentucky. And I can get them a lot easier than she can. That's just how crazy our distribution laws are set up in the country, that she can be that much closer and still not get their beer. Just
the last coffee beer that I had, and I actually made a beer review of it, and I wasn't really sure if it was if I was doing real good justice to the beer, because I forget what the can's date said on it, but it seemed kind of old, and I didn't really know if I was getting the correct flavors of it at the time. It was from the Maui Brewing Company. They make one called Doppelshot Doppelbock. They use some kind of Katura Maui grown coffee from Maui inside of a Doppelbock.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
And the Doppelbock, when it comes out of the can, it's a dark golden color, which is kind of confusing to me as a Doppelbock.
Yeah.
The whole thing with coffee and it being a lighter colored beer and it being 8.2% and it's a Doppelbock is just a little confusing to me, and that's how I thought of the flavors of the beer. Although maybe if you got a fresher can than I did, I think mine might have been again like this one, but this one's a little different. It might have been brewed in April, and I tried it a couple weeks ago. Maybe that's why. Although you would think 8.2 might be able to hold up a little bit, but you never know.
Yeah, usually over 8% can usually be cellar pretty well, but it's how it's also cellar too. So if you got it from a place and it was near that sunlight or the temperatures weren't the right thing where it was getting too warm, you're picking up some of those bad effects.
And I got a little bit, I went a little bit onto YouTube and started watching some beer reviews. Not a lot of them on this Maui Doppelbock, but from what I saw, everybody seemed to like it, and everybody seemed to have similar taste profiles that they got of the beer. And from what I was drinking at the time, it just didn't seem to fall in line with everybody else, and I didn't seem to have the same drinking experience. So I didn't know if I just got a bad can or what it was.
Yeah. And
sometimes it happens. I mean, they're craft beers. Then it could very well vary from can to can. You never know sometimes.
Right, because you could have differences in different batches depending on what may happen as well over a period of time. And we also have that effect of where people's palates may be as well. So I just done a review on one of the beers, and one of the other guys that does beer reviews, Pete out of Pennsylvania. I think it's PA Beer Reviews.
Sounds about right, yeah.
He mentioned that on one of the beers that I had done. It was the Muddy from Goose Island. He didn't get some of the stuff that I got out of it. It's just a matter of where your palate stuff are. So I've always enjoyed that beer. Like Jay mentioned, he always enjoyed it as well. It's just a matter of where you're at along those lines. As you get into more things, you start to pick up and take away different stuff, and it's a matter of how you're evolving your universe of beers. So, but I think that's one that stands out. But the whole thing with the coffee beers, and I'm kind of liking that they took another IPA and did the coffee with this one from Rogue, because outside of this and maybe that Stone Mocha IPA, most of your coffee beers are in stouts or porter form. So you get one in a Doppelbock is actually nice, because now they're switching over to lager as well. So the fun thing with craft beers, when they're experimenting, they're coming up with these different ways to kind of infuse other things and bring some more livelihood in it, because I feel like there's so much of a copycat mentality on a lot of the beers out there. So it's nice when people kind of break away and kind of stand out. I feel like I possibly couldn't probably drink that many more sours and feel that much different about them. It's almost like everybody trying to do the same thing. Although once in a while, I'll get one. Like we have one here from our brewery, Urban Artifact in Cincinnati, and they do a great one. It's a key lime pie. I mean, it tastes like you're eating key lime pie. It's really solid. But some of the other ones out there, it's just you're getting tartness. It's like you're just drinking sweet tarts all the time. So as more and more breweries take these extra steps and try different things, that's what makes the whole thing fun with craft beer.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. And actually, I'm sort of looking through my collection here, and there's a few more that I've actually tried that I've absolutely forgotten about. Story time, folks. So, when
I always enjoy your stories, Boo.
What can I say? So when we started doing this, it was about 3 years ago, almost 4 now. I actually didn't quite know what craft beer was, so we're experimenting, me and my co-host, and I brought him this beer, and I didn't know what it was, but it sounded cool, and so we gave it a shot, and it was from McKellar. Not knowing who McKellar is, not knowing their story, their background, or anything else like that, and we decided to drink this beer. Now, when we drank it, it tasted like lawn clippings. The beer in question was the McKellar Geek Brunch Weasel Oatmeal Stout.
Oh, okay.
Now, for the people who don't know what a Geek Brunch Weasel Oatmeal Stout is, it is something that I found out a year later, that it actually has coffee beans in it. So I'm going to read the description here. Formerly brewed by McKellar at Nogneo, Norway, now Liver, Norway, this Imperial Oatmeal Stout is brewed with one of the world's most expensive coffees, made from droppings of weasel-like crevicats. So, weasel shit. The fussy.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
Oh yeah. So the fussy Southeast Asian animals only eat the best and ripest coffee berries. Enzymes in their digestive system help break down the bean. Workers collect the bean containing droppings for cuvette or weasel coffee. The exceedingly rare cuvette coffee has a strong taste and an even stronger aroma. And the ingredients are water, malts, hops, yeast, Vietnamese CA Pho Chon coffee. So yes,
I was not expecting to get that graphic, but okay.
And that's the commercial description off of ratebeer.com, okay?
I'll stick with French Canadian beer, thank you.
Yeah. So the thing is, we trashed this for 2.5 years. It was the worst beer we ever had. Lawn clippings, alcohol, flavor, everything else. It was a bad beer. So I kept looking on Rate Beer and finding out it is rated 100 out of 100 on it. It is one of the highest classed beers out there, and I was thinking, maybe I'll give it another shot. So I did. Knowing that I was going to be drinking Weasel Poo coffee beer, I was a little hesitant at the whole thing again. However,
did you say Weasel Poo?
I said Weasel Poo. I drank it again, and I changed my rating from absolutely disgusting 1 out of 5 to 4.5 out of 5 because it actually tasted good if you pretty much take away the thing of it's weasel poo.
I was going to say, you kind of like weasel poo now.
I've had bull balls in my beer, okay? I'm not... It's one of those things.
Oh, those are Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh, yeah, the prairie oysters. But the reason why I had those was because I had it because there was a fundraiser for testicular cancer.
Okay.
Or prostate cancer, I should say. And the person that made it was Bret the Hitman Hart.
Oh.
WWE, there you go.
So there you go. And it was actually really good because he made it with bananas and cloves, and it was really quite good.
And oysters.
And oysters. Prairie oysters. But it wasn't meaty or ballsy at all.
It was a ballsy move to make a beer with balls.
So you're
$100.
So you're saying he didn't go balls to the wall on it?
No.
I think there is a brand that in Colorado that makes a Rocky Mountain Stout.
Yeah.
Or a Rocky Mountain
I wonder if
Stout.
it's like Boulder Brewing or somebody out there, because Boulder's out there.
Oh, I thought you said Boner Brewing. I'm like, wait, no, what?
No, and there's other craft beer named by that. There may be at one point. They're always scrambling for names.
I'm sorry.
Boner Brewing.
Boner Brewing? What?
In Boulder Brewing, we make a stiff beer.
Oh, it's called Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout from Wine Coop Brewing Company.
Oh, I've heard of them.
There you go. It's retired now. Oh.
Hmm.
There you go.
I guess it kind of limped out.
They used, and it says on their commercial description on BeerVentures, they used 25 pounds of freshly sliced and roasted bull testicles.
Oh,
Holy
man.
hell. 25 pounds?
25 pounds. So that's 4 balls right there. I mean,
Oh, man. I bet PETA was after them.
I don't think PETA even touched that one because it was all male balls. No, you go ahead, take the balls away. That's all good. Mess with the breasts, you're in trouble.
Oh. All right, it's time to put the kitties away. So I'm looking on Thrill List right now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Thrill List. They do all the different stuff with the people out there. They had a piece out there about coffee beers. Number one coffee beer that they had actually come up with was actually the Goose Island Bourbon County brand coffee stout. So I haven't had that one before.
It's pretty good.
Behind that, they had, which I would love to get my hands on this, the Cigar City Cubano style espresso.
Hell yeah.
I heard Cigar City just kills it out of Florida. And then third was the Avery Brewing Tweak. So there's some nice ones they have listed out there. Ballast Point Victory SC was number 4, which you can actually find in a lot of good places. Local Option has a Beer Worker, Morning Wood. I feel like there should be a joke there, but it is called Morning Wood.
There's Prairie Ale Bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bomb.
Yeah, the Prairie Ale Bomb. I've had that one.
They've had the Surly Brewing Coffee Bender, the Stone Brewing Master of Disguise, and of course the Founder's Breakfast Stout is on the list. Epic Brewing Big Bad Baptist, Twisted Pine Big Shot Espresso Stout rounds out the top 10, and then you get the things from Terrapin, the Wake and Bake Coffee, Santa Fe Brewing Coffee, their Imperial Java Stout, but a lot of good ones out there. Which number 13 is one I just had at a recent beer fest, which was really good. I've been looking to finally get a hold of it. And Eric, you probably had it before, but it's the Ale Smith Speedway Stout, because that's up in the Northeast.
I don't think I've had that.
I think Ale Smith is up where you're at, actually in the Northeast.
Ale Smith is in the San Diego area.
Why did I think it was the Northeast then?
I don't know. 2,000 plus miles away from me.
Well, kind of close. Around the corner.
But speaking of Ale Smith, they do make a lot of their Speedway stouts with different coffee varieties.
Yeah.
They make a Vietnamese one that's apparently supposed to be some kind of a awesome beer right there. They make an Ethiopian coffee, double coffee, coconut vanilla Vietnamese. They make a Butterfinger version.
Yeah. Speaking of coffee, while I'm thinking about it, you guys know who and this is just kind of just a side thing, Ralphie May, the comedian.
Yes.
If you ever put him on YouTube and look at Miami coffee, he has a skit when he first got this first Miami coffee, because in Miami, they're so strong they give it to you in these little cups, right? And he was just made a routine about how he ordered his first one, something to go check out. Has nothing to do with beer, but there's a funny coffee joke in there somewhere. Southern Tier has a triple cafe I've never heard of. Great Divide, I've heard they do good stuff, and they have the espresso oak aged Yeti.
That Yeti's so good if you never had it.
I have had the Shafley Coffee Stout, which is pretty good. The Funky Buddha Maple Bacon Coffee Porter is on the list.
Wow.
That just sounds good. Just the name alone makes you want to drink it. And one I did have that I didn't do a review on because I just had it. I was going to do a review, and I just was one of those days where you just want to drink a beer and not do a review.
Yep.
It's actually Lagunitas Cappuccino Stout. So that's number 22 on the list. And that was actually not bad either.
I haven't had that stuff yet, but what I like about Lagunitas is they're usually at a pretty reasonable price for a giant bottle of their beer.
Yeah, the Cappuccino Stout, when I got it, I think it was a 22 ounce for, I want to believe it was either $5.99 or $6.99, but I think it was
That's
$5.99.
a fantastic deal if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
No, just no.
Well, what do you
You're
mean,
making
no?
me jealous here, okay?
Well, what's costing you up there?
Lagunitas up here, now that they've been rebranded, because they're now part of Molson. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I mentioned the big boys. They
got some kind of ownership from Heineken now.
Yeah, exactly. But they actually they cost an arm and a leg up. Well, any U.S. beer costs an arm and a leg up here.
Well, that's because you guys give away free health care.
We drink too much. We have free health care. Yeah, okay, fine.
That goes against the health insurance companies. People drinking beer.
Only if they catch you. But I don't see something on that list that I was actually kind of curious about. But the Evil Twin Imperial Biscotti Break.
Yeah, that one is actually not on the list, which is surprising. They do have Trogue's Java Head Stout on the list,
and there is another one. It's from Oscar Blues. It's called the Hot Box Coffee Porter.
Yeah, that was not on there either. They had the Flying Dog Cujo Imperial Coffee Stout, Mobcraft Batshit Crazy, which name alone gets points for me. The
Narragansett.
Yeah, the Narragansett Coffee Milk Stout. Now, that is near you, Eric, right? Narragansett?
Yeah, Narragansett is, well, the funny story about that was I think it was in Rhode Island until the 80s, and then they moved their production to the Genesee breweries in Rochester, and now they have a brewery. I don't know what they're going to do at the brewery, but now they have a brewery in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, which is just over the border of southern Massachusetts. So they're making a comeback into New England finally again.
Okay.
Which is good. So yeah, sort of as John Sharon would say, Narragansett's one of those legacy beer brands.
And then
everybody's got a regional one around them, I bet.
Yeah.
That creates the classic, taste of beer that we all know and maybe love.
And then you have Great River Brewery Red Band Stout on the list. And you also have one that I've actually, where I'm at with the Plains, not the Plains, that's like the Dakotas or whatever, but kind of like the central, but not fully central in Ohio, Kentucky Valley. Yeah, so we have stuff out of Michigan. And there's a brewery called Shorts Brewing. They do some great beers, and they have a Joe Coffee Cream Stout that's also on the list too. So some pretty good beers listed on the list here. I mean, coffee beers are definitely out there. I don't know if they're going to be a point where they ever challenge a lot more than what they're doing now, but people are experimenting with them, which I like.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways I think that you can make coffee type beers with just roasting and the different kind of malts you can use in the beer itself. There's a whole bunch of different brewing techniques you can employ. If you want that coffee flavor, you can figure out ways to brew it that way without having to use coffee and keep ourselves awake at 10 minutes to 9.
Yeah, and keep in mind
standard time.
There's been now some scientific studies that have come out showing that if you drink beer, drinking coffee is actually a great offset to it. So they actually work opposite of each other, but drinking coffee and also drinking beer, they kind of help to cancel each other out, kind of, I guess you can say. So the fact of having it within that beer, I don't know if that has any scientific thing to it, but usually they say people that drink both of them actually do a little bit better than if you were just drinking just beer. So,
well, all right.
I'm trying to make up stuff for since
I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
They're gonna ban Four Loko and these different alcoholized energy drinks because they got caffeine in it while we're drinking a coffee stout. That's perfectly legal, right?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, it's always a
But,
matter of
yeah.
what company's chosen as the legal company, right?
Yeah. Nobody's ever said anything about coffee or caffeine in beers. Just in energy drinks that look like nuclear waste.
That's like the whole basis of the marijuana argument there, you know,
Pretty
growing it
much.
versus what the legalized drug dealers can do. So that's a whole different show right there.
Yes, Snoop Dogg hemp ale. Here we go.
Look up hemp reef, or there is actual hemp beer out there.
Yeah, actually in the U.S., the first marijuana beer just got passed to be able to be made.
Holy hell.
Not supposed to give you any buzz off it because they're using a different strain of it without the THC, but it just is going to hit the market now. So
nice.
Yeah. And I just pulled up another part. Now, this is where you're at too, Eric. The Boston Globe apparently just ran an article 2 days ago talking about an eye-opening approach to coffee beers, which I was going to pull up here. But every time you click on something on your computer, they want to advertise and make you connect with Facebook. Funny how that works. And then when you go back to Facebook, it'll bring up all the stuff you looked at on the internet.
There's a big surprise.
Edward Snowden.
But I'm sure we're not doing anything to take over anything. But it actually talks about like out of the Finback Brewery, which is in Queens, New York. It's talking about how they're experimenting with some different stuff. Collaboration with Rhode Island's Proclamation Ale Company. Does that sound familiar?
Proclamation. It does. Certainly does sound familiar.
So they're working on up a juicy IPA mixing in cold brew as well.
Oh, wow.
Some neat piece. If you get a chance, like pull up the Boston Globe if you want. I can shoot you the link to it as well. But some neat stuff happening with coffee beer. So maybe that's the next turn. We went through the whole thing with sours and everybody had the different things out there on that. Last year a lot of people do a lot more of the fruity beers. Maybe they'll be going into the coffee beers now.
I think one of the last fads that's going to take a while for it to die down and say what you will about the fad, but it's been for a while that everybody wants to barrel age everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a cool flavor. It does a lot of things to the beer, depending on what was in that barrel, or even if it was just, an unused kind of a whiskey type oak barrel. But it does a lot of interesting things to beer, but you don't always need to have your one top shelf beer where you got to, spend $20 just to get a barrel aged product of a beer.
Right.
$20? Boy, yeah, well, okay, there's $20, or if you want to go 50-50, you can spend up to $40.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of those cellaring right now, and I'm a barrel-aged fan. I can't help that.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where it is a unique taste, and if it's done properly, it's amazing.
Yep.
If it's done poorly, then we got
that price was not worth it.
Is there ever an amount that you're like to the point you're like, I would not pay for that for a beer?
I'm gonna say yes.
I get nervous when I see a bomber of beer that's $15 US.
Oh,
there's a lot of bombers of beer I notice from Dogfish Head. They're like between $15 and $17 US. Yeah. And if I've never had that beer, which most of those bombers I've never had, I get nervous. Like, I'm going to spend $15 on a beer that I might absolutely hate and wish I had that money back from it.
Yeah. See, and here's the thing. So they're bringing up beers from the States, and they're charging an arm and a leg. So I've actually spent $40 on those 50-50 Ecliptic beers.
Right.
And now they've got these ones where it's a 4-pack, and it is the Cascade Ales. So it's a 4-pack of the Cascade Ales where it's the sours, the apricot sour, the strawberry, and the cherry ones. And it's the 2015, 2014, 2013, and 2012 editions for $225 Canadian. 4 beers.
Wow. I mean, that's just, that's...
That is way too much for my liking.
Yeah.
Beer's not that great.
Yeah, if Jordan was here, he'd be all over that and saying, I want that now.
That's a couple utility bills right there.
Coffee's kind of the same way to a certain extent. The higher end and the harder it is to harvest the coffee beans, the higher the price. Yeah. So it's sort of similar with the coffee theme there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true,
Definitely.
and it's yeah. I mean, for example, okay, Peak Organics Oak Aged Mocha Stout. That was absolutely delicious, and that only cost me $7 a bottle.
And they are
It's not
from
bad. It's not
Maine.
bad though. $7
I
a
got I got to try some of that. They're from
What was
Maine.
it? A 22?
Yep.
Was it a 12 ounce?
Yeah,
Was it a 12 ounce or 22?
it was a 12 ounce.
12 ounce.
It was
Okay.
a small bottle, so. But I mean, you have the import and everything else like that, and
Yeah.
it's still really good. I actually, it was my first one, and I actually that was that the bomber? It might have been the bomber. Either or, it was one of the ones that I actually enjoyed.
Either or, I got it. It was
Not for nothing, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you take for example, every year I buy myself the craft beer advent calendar. Hence, that was the big box. Spoiler alerts for the people that are watching. Yes, I'm going to be doing a video on that. But I actually picked up that case today, and it's
Don't choke, Roger.
Oh, look, I make it good. It's a good
Really
show when I
quick
make you
episode.
choke on your beer.
Boy, that was like
Wow. Anyways, the Canadian makes the American
Let me go,
choke
like-
on his own beer. Yeah.
On my Canadian beer.
Reach for some water over here or something.
The Canadian made the American choke on Canadian beer. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
It was like W choking on a pretzel.
And getting hit with a shoe at the same time.
Or Don,
He had
or
quick
Donald
reflexes.
Trump trying to say, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
excuse me, excuse me, I'm talking."
It was like, no, no, no.
Oh yeah, the sniffing too.
Yes. I have some kind of indigestion.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry,
I actually
congestion.
behaved tonight, and yes, I actually watched the debate for
Yeah.
an hour. I watched that debate for an hour before I went, okay, it's a 5-year-old versus an old woman. Okay, who's gonna win?
I watched the whole thing. It was interesting. So, you know what it is? There was opportunities that were missed, and it was just became a point of,
Well,
you gotta practice and do your homework. You gotta prepare.
As a Canadian, I have to ask. I really do.
Yeah,
What?
you guys are the better ones in North America now.
What the fuck are you guys thinking? Voting Donald Trump to be elected to be a president candidate? What the hell are you guys thinking?
I didn't vote for him.
There's a lot of people saying it's come down to this. If you see like all the memes that are coming out, like of all the people, we have these two that are there now. And then, some people do like Gary Johnson, which but Gary Johnson struggles on some of the questions that come up.
Yeah.
And then
Well, they asked him a dumb question. They asked Gary. This is a way off topic. This topic, but they asked Gary Johnson a dumb question the other day, which was, "Who's your favorite foreign leader?" I mean, what the hell, really?
well, he asked who is his favorite or who inspires him type thing too. But
I guess my answer would have been the typical Winston Churchill, right?
yeah, well, he got to be alive. But he's
Justin
struggling.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, but the whole thing is like, even if you don't like any of them, like I was talking to someone earlier today, to just say none of them really inspire me because everybody's just caught in these party systems.
I can't name a
I would
foreign
respect
leader.
that
I'm sorry.
more. You can
I
name
can-
you can name Trudeau. He's in Canada.
Well, I can name the guy from Israel there, Netanyahu. That's about it. And
You can,
Netanyahu and Putin. That's about it.
well, he couldn't say Putin because I'd have set people off like crazy.
Oh yeah, I love Putin and him bombing a
But the funny
what's
thing is,
Aleppo again.
Weld that was with him was able to say, Merkel. So
Oh, right.
I'm like, you guys need to flip your roles. Like he should be for president, and this guy should be a vice president.
Well, somebody should just give him a
Steve
coffee
Urkel's
stick.
running for president?
Huh?
Steve Urkel's running for president?
No, but they asked the question. The vice president candidate knew who inspired him. He was able to name foreign leaders.
Just giving them a
Just the
coffee
guy
stick.
running for president couldn't. It was, and the whole, and it's just like, you know what? And the way, and Eric knows this, the way our machine is set up, they're running that constantly now to try to wheel him out of the whole mix. So it's constantly about him not knowing this type of stuff. So
So when are you guys moving up to Canada?
The island is open. I've read things about the island. They open up to Americans if they want to come up there.
Oh yeah, yep. Come on up. You might have to spend more for your American beer, but we still got good craft beer.
Wow.
Well, you know what? If you get enough Americans up there that know about beer, we'll just start brewing it up there as a business.
I will move to Sunnydale Trailer Park and meet with the Trailer Park Boys. And listen to Rush, my favorite band of all time.
I know somebody who actually knows the Bubbles, the actor, knows his father. So it's.
Woo! You're saying Bubbles the actor, not Bubbles Michael Jackson's monkey, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should actually. Trailer Park Boys Bubbles.
Yeah,
Mike
Smith.
Michael Jackson, or
Mike
ex-Michael
Smith.
Jackson.
They both have the name Mike in common.
Right.
Mike Smith.
And not the
One
girl
smokes
performing.
dope and the other one smokes. Oh, never mind.
Wow. So as you can see, our show took that turn again.
Well, it wouldn't be one of your shows if it didn't.
That's true. That's true. But hopefully we're going to get it wrapped up here. But hopefully everybody that does tune in or will be tuning in got to hear some good stuff about some of the coffee beers out there. Appreciate you taking some time out there. Make sure you check us all out. Obviously, if you see this, you know where my channel is. But then, Eric, your channel.
Thomas Metal 75 is the channel name. The show is Massachusetts Beer Reviews.
And Boozer.
Well, Booze Reviews CA is the channel name, and booze-reviews.ca is the thing that I've got. And if you want to corner me, well, you know how to find me.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And now you actually can see who Booze is, because every time I go to Booze's video, all I see is the beer. So he kind of hides behind the camera. So
Not always. See, you haven't seen all my reviews. I've just done it recently.
yeah. So recently he's in witness protection, so he can't show himself on his channel.
And I'd like to say, if anybody watches these reviews and watches the Rod J channel, thank you very much. If anybody's got an idea for a topic for an examination, give Rod J a comment and let him know, and we'll try to get to your requests, I suppose, right? Why not?
Always. So
I've got one.
We never know what's going to happen when Boozer has something. So let's go ahead and see what he has to say.
When he's got something, he's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, not this time, because Rod J.
I swear to
already
God, it
said
better
it.
not be a Rocky Mountain oyster beer.
I can't find too many of those, and I don't want to brew one. Thank you.
With 25 pounds of oysters, freshly sliced.
Excuse me, sir. Can I borrow your balls, please?
You're going to just need to sack that.
Yeah. Oh. That's low. That's a low blow.
It would have been.
If there's anything there.
So what do you got? What are you thinking?
You know, I think in 2 weeks' time, you said you hate this topic. I hate this topic.
Are you
And I
Shandy?
don't
say shandy beers.
I'm not saying shandy.
We already did that.
But it does start with an S.
Shitty beer?
Well, okay, that would be good, but I'm not buying any Canadian, so I'm going to say sours.
I can do sours. I don't like sours that keep imitating each other, but I can do sour beers.
I say in 2 weeks we do sours, because I got a couple of sours that I've been wanting to drink, and I need a reason to drink it.
I like sour beer.
You don't like sour beer?
No, I do. I don't like it to the point where it just makes me look like the old guy in the back of the bar with the whiskey face.
Well, in a couple of weeks, if you do a sour, I'll be joining you, and I've got a nice, beautiful plum sour or a sour number 2 that I'll pull open.
In 2 weeks, we'll do sour beers. So if you don't know, for everybody watching, every 2 weeks is when Booze actually joins us. So this will actually be the October 13th show. Lucky day.
Oh, yeah.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Hey, tomorrow's, if you don't know, tomorrow's Dark Moon. For 2 hours, it's supposed to be the Dark Moon, so get your Pink Floyd ready.
All right. Did you say that was the 13th, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay, because I'm going to see the band Megadeth on the 12th. All right.
So you're free on the 13th.
Yes, I am.
Say hi to Dave Mustaine for me.
Oh, he's got the Megadeth hat on. I didn't even realize.
Hey, it's Megadeth and Amon Amarth and Metal Church and Suicidal Tendencies and this crappy band called the Butcher Babies.
Hey, I like the Butcher Babies.
Yeah.
You should periscope it and get some fans.
All right, man. Yeah, well, I'll do a live review of a $12 Bud Light for y'all.
Oh,
There you go.
God.
Here's a little
$12 for
for
a
you.
Bud Light is nothing ever.
What you got? Oh, yeah.
And
What is
it's
that?
all
Hold on,
autographed.
let me get on it. What is it?
That's
Oh,
Dave
nice.
Mustaine from Megadeth. If you like Megadeth, brother G.
Nice.
Yeah. and to make you even more jealous, this hat right here is autographed by Dave Mustaine himself.
In black ink, right?
Silver.
No, I was joking because you had a black hat on. You missed
Yep.
it.
All right.
All right.
Here.
All right.
Well, thanks for everybody swinging by to check out another episode and back in full force next week. Don't know what we'll be doing, but 2 weeks
We'll
from
discuss
now,
off air.
2 weeks from now, you'll know we do sour beers when we have booze back.
Yep.
Again, Rod J here in Cincinnati. You can always check out my website, www.rodjbeerventures.com. That'll list everything for Untapped, for Instagram, Google Plus, wherever you are, social media. Trust me, you can find me. And
I am Tom Selleck from the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. I'm blowing out my candle.
any more
sounds.
shorter, that'd be like Tom Hitler there. That's a short little mustache.
Wait a minute, my name is Tom Hitler? No.
And Booze, of course. Do you have a blog or anything, Booze? You just...
Oh, I blog. I every now and then I blog.
What's your blog channel?
BoozeReviews.ca. Actually, I do have on my YouTube. I've got something coming up on Saturday that I'll be doing a live broadcast on. Up here, we've had some issues between bloggers versus breweries, so I'll be covering that.
Wow, okay.
Wow. A B&B throwdown, bloggers versus breweries.
Yes. And
And the Brewers win.
Yeah.
well, actually, if anyone's been following the stories up in Canada here, there's been a brewery that has fired a blogger. So they blocked them and said you're fired, and they put a post up on their Tumblr account.
Wait a minute, they fired was the blogger working for them?
Nope.
Then how can you fire a person that doesn't work for you?
And that's the thing.
That's like firing me because I reviewed Narragansett Lager or something on my YouTube.
Well, that's like Friday, like Craig getting fired on his day off.
Yeah, and this is where I'll be covering everything and going from there. So it's it'll be kind of interesting.
Nice.
I hope not to piss people off, but you never know.
Yeah, we definitely want to check that out for sure. See what's going on. Yeah.
Well, I'll be posting it on my Facebook page of what time and everything, and we'll go from there.
All right, cool. It's like, yeah, you're fired. I don't even work for you.
Donald Trump at his finest again. You look like me, a bozo.
Hey, there's actually clowns stalking around the U.S. That's not a good disguise there. So
No, it's not.
some people are still freaked out by it even. So
Yep.
with
Yep.
that being said, thanks again for everybody that checked out the show tonight. We look forward to catching you next week. Have a good night. Keep drinking good craft beers, and cheers.
Have a good night.